What's going on, guys? It seems as though there was a patch live balance stream thing that happened while I was at work. I wanted to review this with you guys. Unfortunately, I still have to drop that video because it was already in the works, so I figured I might as well still drop it, record this, most likely maybe go to sleep and then release it in the morning. So if you guys are watching this video, obviously go back and look at that video. It's actually really good. I definitely suggest that, and hopefully we can enjoy whatever the hell is about to go down in this patch live balance. My friend was like, yo, my man, this is crazy, so I'm assuming it's pretty good. But oh yeah, I also have Snooey right here. Look at this insane update. So, you know, he's saying it's crazy. I'm assuming it must be something special. Now, I'm going to be editing the hell out of it because this is 50-minute video, and I'm pretty sure I don't need to see 50 minutes of it. But if you like my reactions and you want to see more stuff, not only Runeterra, TFT, and League of Legends. I haven't done a League of Legends video in a minute. It might be time. It might be time. But yeah, if you guys are interested, like, comment, subscribe. It helps people find the channel. If you want more of what you already enjoy, that's all you got to do. Leave a hi, leave a what's up. Leave a random fact. What did you eat for breakfast? It doesn't matter. So let's get into the patch. Alright, so I was going through, I was trying to find something. Alright, so dev stream, so Freljord needs to chill. It looks like the innovative blacksmith is getting -1 attack. I wonder if they just have like a full summary of all this. They probably do. I probably don't need to watch the stream necessarily. Maybe I don't watch this, but I can actually hear the live them say like exactly what it is. Warden of the Tribes. I heard people were like complaining about this card. I didn't see it used that often, nor did I see that many decks, but I guess people were upset that it's so strong. I don't know. I just think that something that hits to 9 cost and you lose to it, just shut up. Just shut up. Unless they're cheating it out somehow. It doesn't have any key subtypes either, so I don't know. I just feel like, but I guess people were cooking with Warden of the Tribes, and you know, if people start cooking with stuff, people get it nerfed, so it is what it is. But oh, it was 8 costs. Also, what I see here is what it actually is. So it was 8. It was an 8 drop, and now it went up to 9, and now this thing is a -1. I kind of wish that they would not do that and then show it, like instead of having this to the right, they would show the changes and maybe put up here what changes happened or why they did it. But I guess so. It's a 9 drop now instead. I don't know. I still don't see it as being that crazy, but sometimes 7 drops, 8 drops, depending on how they come out, they have some type of impact. But I think it's just a card that does good in a deck that's winning. So it's like, I don't know. I don't agree. But maybe there's some other cool stuff like this. Something like this is not interesting to me. So now that I know how it works. So they also did Don't Worry, Fire Department is on the way. So Wildfire going to 2 mana, I think that's actually something that's fair. So at least you can't like spaz it or use it in some certain decks. It's not going to be like this cheap thing. I think this is a fair thing to do. I was kind of wondering if they would do that or if they would have made it that change how it ramps. They could have made it that it doesn't go 1 so quickly or something. I think that's a decent change. Especially because it's sometimes getting duplicated by the figurehead. So, like sometimes you're playing for 1 and it starts ramping up really quick. This one I don't mind. Was the Wildfire decks killing it for the game? I don't know. I think it was a decent win con. I think it was definitely a decent win con. But I could see why they would at least to test to putting it at 2 mana to see if that has an effect on things. I think it's fair enough. And if it just falls off a cliff, then you maybe bring it down to 1 mana. But a lot of this stuff, and we have to also see, is that a lot of this is going to be a like reaction based on what happens with all the draw packages, right? Like people being able to find answers and people being able to find stuff that they weren't normally able to get into their decks, right? So before you would put a Parallel Convergence into your deck and you might not see it for the rest of the game, and it was like, wait, why did I even put that card that put it in there? But now you have Called Shot because it gets Parallel Convergence, because you're predicting and drawing and all this other stuff, and all of a sudden you see that card. Same thing with Wildfire, same thing with Go Hard once Eternal comes out. Eternal, you're probably gonna see that they might do the same thing to Go Hard if I'm just putting a guess out there, because in Eternal it's gonna go like crazy. So this one, Pike, they increased the cost. It's not a 4 cost, it's a 5 drop. It looks like they kept his attack low, so he definitely needs to pop up. But the death from below, I think Pike himself is whatever. Sometimes I don't even see him level anymore. But the death from below is so strong because it just attacks and strikes, and you can't really counter it unless you just have a deny itself. You can't ping the Pike or anything like that because it's not there. It's there only after it strikes. So I can see why they made it a little bit harder. So even the spell is 5. I don't know if the spell was 4 at all times, but I think that's a decent change. But it's because Lurk is just a standard good deck. So, you know, if you fight against it, you have to deal with that, I guess. Not like too crazy. So far, I'm not like my gaskets aren't being blown. All right. So next up, we have the PNZ getting some more. Damn, we got some. Well, my friend said something happened with Freya and PNZ. So so far I've seen Freya get nerfed, and now PNZ's getting nerfed. We apologize to our incoming AI overlords. So the everywhere buff is +1, +0, and 3/3 stats. So I think he was like a 4/3, but now they don't get health. So that is decent because now I have definitely seen that this buff, especially if you keep summoning it after you have the thing, it just gets out of control and it makes the turrets really hard to deal with. I don't know if it needed, but Heimer Jace or Heimer everything is just so popular that I think that's why this got hit. Same thing here. This losing its Brash, I think makes the character just irrelevant. Then why were you running it in the first place? It is a pretty good thing because it actually, no, I scratched that. So you can still pay 9 mana, get a 9/9. You know, it still counted as that. So that still worked, right? But the fact that it Brash is kind of how it became like a thing. Now you have to give it a keyword, right? So I guess that's the difference. You have to give it a keyword if you want it to be more than just a big body. Like even the big cat, you know, has overwhelm, so it makes sense. So interesting, very interesting. But most people were just playing it as a 6/6. The Brash made it a little bit harder to deal with, so they're just taking the Brash out. So you just have a big 6/6 on the field that still synergizes with the Jace and Heimer. So I guess that's okay at the very most. So far decent tame things, nothing too crazy, nothing that I'm like, oh my god. Suffered a bit of a black eye, the watchful idol, gotcha. So lost some health, so it only triggers twice instead of at least 3 times. Effective change, obviously. That's gonna make it a little bit harder for the Alawi decks to pop off, and then also the Swains. But again, don't really see that. And not that I play a lot of Runeterra. I play it mostly when I'm recording a video. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I might be missing out on why some of these, like, oh my god, this was terrible. But for me, it's like I play a little bit and then I stop. So I don't get that whole, oh my god, this is so oppressing. Every time I turn on the game, it's the same decks. I really don't fight against the same decks that often. If anything, I think there was the Galio, the Galio Volibear deck that was very popular, pissing me off. When I swear to god, I think Snooey, I feel like I want to blame Snooey for it, but I feel like I saw the thumbnail that he brought, that he was starting to use Gnosis Senna, and I swear to god I fought it like multiple times in a row, and so I feel like that was his fault. But that was it. Like, you know, I really don't see that many of the same decks getting played. Maybe the same champions, yes, but not the same decks spazzed over and over again. So Sting Officer here, same officer, less Sting. They just changed the stats. Stat changes are like kind of boring to me. I don't really care too much about them. Again, I don't even know if Caitlyn was popping off like that. Flash bombs, I feel like they need to give you more per plant. Like when it plants, like this one is 2 if it Nexus Strike. It's so hard to get a Nexus Strike off. I feel like it's a little bit. I feel like it should be putting 3 flash bombs, right? Something like that. Exalted Cloudwinder. Yeah, this guy was doing the Lord's work, so they just made it that he did. I think he had. He was a 3/2. I feel like he was a 4/2 or something like that. So they just made him less effective as an attacker. So, but mostly you're using him for the draw. But if you do after that, you have to buff him up in some way, shape, or form. So that's nice. We're gonna keep going. Here it is. Grant other formidable allies. Now this is the stuff I like. So granting the allies except himself. So he himself is an engine, he has to keep attacking. But now I wonder if there's 2 of them, do they buff each other? Like there's certain cards that work like that. They'll buff each other, but they don't buff themselves, but they buff the others. I don't know. That's a weird change, but it does allow you to deal with him a little bit easier. Makes him have to keep attacking. But like I said in my other video, when I fought against Galio Udyr, you give this guy regen. You know, you just make him a little bit sturdier, harder to deal with in that deck. but it does slow it down a little bit, so that's cool. Valiant Imitation going to 4 cost. That's rough. Now, I know that people were popping off, I guess. They were using this card a little bit more often. I feel like they still need to work out the kinks of how it works. Making it 1 more cost does make it like it's gonna feel ugly. This is this to me is starting to feel like the Vault of Helia, right? Like the Vault of Helia, it was one time it was 4 costs, everyone used it and went to 5 costs or 6 costs, and then it's like I don't feel like using it, it's too slow. So I think that might happen to the Valiant Imitation. It might be that it's a little bit too slow because you have to play it. Before it was like you paid it for 3 and then you play a 4 cost follower and then maybe you got some value out of it. Now 4, you have to play something 5 and above. It might just get rotated out because you might be losing games with how this card works. It's a really big setup card, and that might have killed it. They might have to bring it back to 3. The Valiant Imitation, I feel like it just needs to be maybe like reworded. Maybe I feel like they should have just reworded it, but I feel like this is just a nice thing to probably lower the usage. But you know, Sunken Temples 5 cost landmark does a lot of things. What is it? Swindler's Den 6, and what is the other one? The Barkeep Super Bar, whatever that Super Bar is named. Back Alley Bar, I think is actually just called. That card's what is it? 7 cost, still phenomenal. So I think you still will see it, but it has to really synergize with the deck and be worth it, or else it's just gonna be like meme territory. Making Koba combo history. Each round, the first time you play another follower, summon an exact. So yeah, just making that whole shenanigans that I was doing before, just limiting it. That's okay. That was janky. That's one of the things that I feel like they should have probably did that for a long time ago. Swindle, this is the one, yeah, cost 1 if you plunder. Pick 1 or 2 of 2 non-champion cards from the enemy's hand. Create a copy in your hand. I guess that's fine. I don't know if it was, I think maybe it have been choose 3, but now it's just choose 2 or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it is. The card seems fine. So as we will continue, okay. Samara needs to play Flare. Is it fleeting? Did they make it fleeting? Burst, deal 1 to enemy nexus, or give Samara. Oh, okay, the costs. Okay. So Flare is now 2 mana. Ouch. But she does keep it. It's not, and since it's still not fleeting, it's, you know, you just keep it in your hand. And plus, when she's actually leveled, like, here it is. Create a Flare in hand, and if you already have 1, reduce its cost by 2. That's actually big though. So it's always 2 mana. So she doesn't create a free Flare anymore. So it now becomes a Udyr. It becomes a Udyr thing. So that's actually pretty interesting. That makes her way less effective. It makes it that you're not getting the, and they already nerfed her, right? This other rally thing here, it reset on her turn, and then they made it that her level 2 does it as well. So they doubled. This is her second nerf. Samara is still a little bit out of control, but now at least her flares. Damn, it makes me wish that I used her more like in Path of Champions before this change, because it's much easier when it's a 0 cost flare that she keeps generating. But now, if you have already 1, that also changes this, is because it's like Tumble, right? Because now Tumble, you reduce it or whatever, and then if you keep having it Tumble, if it's 0 mana, it doesn't create another Tumble. You're just gonna be screwed. You have to utilize it as quick as possible. So that is going to be a big change for Samara. I think, not that she'd go out of the meta, you just have to actually play your cards. I don't care. But you actually have to play your stuff. You can't just sit there and hold on to a bunch of 0 mana flares because you keep attacking. I kind of like that change. I don't see her as often, but yeah, we'll see. So Titanic buffs. So they're changing cards so that they work with Titanic. So let's see, Clockling, I think the Clockling currently, I actually have the game. I can actually check some of these cards. So yeah, the Diva, Zon Diva, 7/5, right? Clockling, 7/7. So they're just taking cards that wouldn't work with Titanic and just giving them either, like this one is getting +1/+1, this one's only getting a +1. So, you know, it's a little different, and the same thing with the Tusk Raider. Now the Tusk Raider is actually the most interesting, I feel like Sejuani, and then the whole thing with Plunder. You can play this depending on how the thing's going. It might just be like a POC buff, but we'd have to see later on how that works. But that's a cool change, because I was saying before, when Raleigh was first revealed, or how Titanic was first revealed, I went through all the cards, and some of the options outside of like Noxus, which technically don't really see that deck, right? Noxus actually has I think one of the earliest Titanic unit, which is the 8/3 Challenger, and then technically you could pay it early. But the whole thing with Titanic, with the Sigil of the Storm, is that there's not enough things that generate it, so they need to make more of them, pretty much. So big boys get new toys, so new play effects. So Wrath of the Freljord has play frostbite enemies with 3 or less, so now it has more effectiveness. 10, Atacon has revived the strongest dead ally. Grant me power equal to the thing. So you get a revive of dead ally. Could be a champion as well. So Atacon pretty much doing it for the people again, and it still works with the sigils. I should mention that as well. Now, Lord Eldred, other allies, when an ally survives damage, granted +1/+1. So now turning Lord Eldred into a engine, a forever engine at that. So it's pretty much a Scar Grounds, right? A Scar Grounds, and the top comment. I actually like that change. That's a pretty cool change. This one's pretty cool. This one's lackluster. I feel like it would be cool if it actually froze the board, but that would be like super OTK territory, like easy OTK. But I like this. Frostbite 1 enemy, so there's at least 1 enemy that you automatically can't block. If Ash and the gang are there, it makes it even better. But I like all 3 of these changes. I think that's phenomenal. That's some cool stuff to do. Berserker, Ursine, they need to lower his cost. He needs to not be a 6-drop, but now slightly more likely to go Berserk now. Making it a 6/4 is irrelevant. It needed to be a 5-drop. The stats didn't even matter on it. Like the other card, the figurehead is a 6 cost as well too, but its effect is super stronger than what this thing does. When you play a spell or a skill, summon a Sigil of the Storm. So this is the card that you're supposed to be like spamming sigils, right? But to me, it just was too slow. It was way too slow. And then you could play it for 6/4. It's not a sigil. It's not a Titanic unit, so it won't eat anything up. If they would have made it, even if they would have made it like a 4/8 or a 3/8 or something like that, and then made it that you could cheese him out, and then he infinitely gets the other ones out, I would have preferred that. This buff is ass cheeks of ass. Other buffs, okay. So Open Hawk now can block elusives. That's interesting. Nice to have, I guess. One of the best 1-drops in the game, so making it a little bit better is better. Yes, if you could imagine that making things better is better. But I think they should add more units to have that. I feel like that's actually a pretty cool flavor version that they did to do that. So things are speeding up. So accelerated to burst. So now exhaust is burst. It was focus speed. So now you can, at burst speed, give an enemy -2 and vulnerable this round. The -2 is the only thing that's really important, because burst speed is the same as focus to make something vulnerable and then pull it into you. But they're also changing Cold Shot to be focus. That's interesting. So now, before it was kind of annoying, 2 mana draw 1. 2 mana draw, like, and I'm saying obviously they always did that, right? But 2 mana, put a card in your deck, draw 1, and then you can still do a follow-up plays. My Echo Janna deck has just got dramatically better. That's insane. You can literally do that. If Janna's not on the field, it would get reduced, and then you can do some follow-up plays. That to me is like one of the big, for me, that I love that change. That's gonna make my Echo Janna deck just phenomenal, and it's also gonna help other decks that might rely on that. I'm pretty sure you can do Echo Neela as well, and then go like Slip Sling crazily. We'll have to see how that's gonna work out, but yes, I love it. That is something that I absolutely adore. That is a great change. Let's see what else they got cooking up. This chick, Pack Relasima. What the hell? When you play a Elemental Soul, what are they? 3/2 to 2/3. Make her a little bit more tanky. I respect that. She's. You see why she's good? Because she's a 4 cost. Unlike the other guy that's 6. I think 5 would have been just fine. 5 or 4 costs. Lower his stats to accommodate it, but at least he starts putting out the sigils, so you know your crew can do the Lord's work. Like this card a lot, and this card was actually seeing a lot of play in the Lissandra decks that I saw running around, right? So here for more support, swap Brash, swap Overwhelm. I think that they were all Brash or something like that. No, Mako was Overwhelm and Bull was Brash, if I'm not mistaken. But now they just switched them around. It makes more sense that he's Overwhelm. He's the last big big doofus that comes out. So yeah, cool. Squad goals. That makes sense. Also give him +1 attack. Okay, makes sense. More like mana old babs. When you refill mana, grant me +1 for each refilled mana. I think before she only has a tune. I was about to say, was he only did spells? So now she at least puts 1 mana, so she makes herself a 1/3 instantaneously. Then you're supposed to sit there. You're supposed to give her like overwhelm later on. That's basically how she works. But then with how we pick up a buff. Now Brash Gambler in POC, love this card. It's really good in the Neela decks in POC. To play me, discard 2, attack, draw 2, grant them fleeting. That's how she works before. Now she has overwhelm. That does absolutely nothing for the card. I think that it should have been draw 2, reduce them by 1 or something like that, and they're fleeting. So you either use them immediately or you don't, or you can't, whatever. I don't know. Overwhelm seems like weird. Or wait, what? Wait, or they gave it challenge. Challenger's not that bad. Keeps her alive. Quick attack, can't block. Whoa! What's going on? Splash Gambler. Wait, they all have different names. Bash Gambler, Clash Gambler, Flash Gambler, Rash Gambler, Splash Gambler, Trash Gambler, Ash Gambler. There we go. What it looks like, when it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck. So Brash, oh that's funny because it's always named Brash Gambler, so now it has Brash. That's actually kind of funny. All right, so next up, when it looks like a boat, quacks like a boat, draws Jack. So King's Court now, yeah, because that was his boat, or it was synergized with his kit so much, but it actually never drew him. So now Jack has a boat. Yes. Yes, we got money. We're getting money now. All right, so when it quacks like when it looks like a yodel, quacks like a yodel, is it a yodel? So now it becomes a yodel. That's fine. While on the topic of yodels, this thing got more health. That I wonder when eventually the yodel decks like pure yodels or pure phase, that is eventually going to be a thing once they have enough support. Sometimes you just got to be in for the long haul, right? Enlightenment means knowing not to hurt your allies. So deal 3 to all allies. If you are enlightened, which is at max mana, instead deal 3 to all enemies and heal your Nexus 3. So you can use it early to just be a scuzzbag, or you can use it at the right time, deal 3 to all enemies. I'm wondering if that also means their Nexus as well, and you heal, which is cool. I like that. I like that. I know it did something somewhat similar. I think you just got the heal, so now it has an even better benefit. No spell mana cost. When allies attack, summon the short tooth. Boom. That's awesome. That is awesome. You have to use like 1 mana per. Dead cards don't stay dead. Okay. So Herring Return, revive the strongest dead allied follower and grant it a Pharaoh and Fearsome and give everyone -1. So that's pretty cool. And then -1 cost. That's what it says right there. -1 cost. So Haunted Tomb. I actually have always liked Haunted Tomb, but like it was like a 3 mana cost thing. It's gonna give you your strongest ally back, which could be a champion. And this might make like a Talia Shadow Owls deck really good, because then you can like copy it, right? Because something could die on an earlier turn, you play the Haunted Tomb, and it just looks for the strongest. So if something dies in between that, it's always going to give you the strongest. And I've always liked that card, but sometimes I feel like it didn't always work out. So 1 more gem for herself. When you play a spell, grant a random ally in hand +1. Oh, it's the same thing, but they gave her more attack. It'd be interesting because this deck or this style of deck could actually make Titanic units pretty easily by spamming gems, and like you have like a gem Titanic deck. That might have been like a cool thing, or just obviously hand buffing as well. Full 80 Soraka can't hurt you. So Consult of the Heavens, yeah, fully heal all allies, then grow their power to equal their healths. Whoa, my Lord of Jesus. Well, grow is actually significant. That's a very significant word there, because if it was like add fully heal and then like give yourself attack based off your health, which would have been nuts, because then if it get duplicated. I like this card. So you get the full heal, you basically do get the Soraka heal, and then they get a buff, but it equals to their health. So healthy units be damned. Like, that's just a strong card. I think this is a nice little one-off in every deck now, right? You just like kind of put that in there, take a full trade, full heal up, and then you go into your next phase, or if now you attack, or vice versa. You attack, clear their field, you did as best you could, and then you do the full heal. Pretty interesting. Challenge instead of underwhelm. Yeah, that makes more sense for this card. You don't really see it used that often, but Challenger Challenger in general, like a lot of cards would get Challenger and then they get changed off of Challenger because it's like, yo, this card's too strong. Made this have more health. That's insane. That is insane. This card was already super good. 4 costs, so it comes back when Nautilus refills the deck, and it heals all your allies, plus heals the Nexus. And if you resummon it or anything like that, it just heals and does the same thing again. Really strong card. Love this card in a deep deck, or almost any deck, but just really, really strong to get that nice heal. And now it has more health. So, all right, we're at 40 minutes. I'm going through. Whoa, -1 on Eclectic Collection. That's actually huge. Like, I've always felt weird playing the 7 mana. You always play the 7 cost mana and like, fuck, I can't do anything next turn. But 1 less mana, man. You could actually play this like on turn 3. Not that you would have a board by then, but it's just, you know, something interesting. It makes me want to go back to, what was it, Evelyn Nora? The Evelyn Nora decks. It's like either you Eclectic Collection or you use Siren Song and you just keep going, right? But that's a pretty cool change. Teemo, for the Howling Abyss fans out there, plants 5 minimum. Interesting. Okay. Doubles the poison puff cast in the deck and it will plant at least 5. So yeah, that is literally mostly a Howling Abyss buff. But also could be something, let's say in the rare scenario that Teemo levels, they draw most of their shrooms or something like that, and then you're screwed. But it also, let's say in the Eternal, which Eternal you probably will see this a lot with the deck replacement thing. You'll probably see that a lot, but now at least if Teemo's leveled, he'll start planting 5 in that new deck that they have, and then start multiplying himself with that. So, interesting, very interesting change. What else we got? What else we got? Shadow stepping up Kane's game. So, 3 mana? Dude, one of the harder things about Kane, and I'm a big Kane and Aatrox player, or I've always liked the deck style. Now, what's interesting here is that when it was 4 mana, you couldn't play Kane. Let's say you try to play him on curve, you play him on turn 5. Now, having another Kane in hand, especially because I've always said that Kane and Aatrox were so good because they can draw themselves, right? So you can have your mana all nicely set up, all nice and sexy, and then you have enough mana so you can play Kane, attack, or remember, give Queen Kick Attack. It actually gives it to him for the round. You can actually Kane Shadow Step first, so now he has Quick Attack, challenge, take something out, and then attack again, and boom, he's leveled. So that's really, really strong. That's actually probably one of the more effective changes in most of the stuff that I read so far. Because I feel like Kane decks, I've always said, I know I keep saying it, but the fact that you instantly get him after just spamming Cultists is just strong. Maybe Kane Janna. Kane Janna might be something, man. Because this thing is really, really strong with Rost, and same thing with the even if you go blue shadow form, and maybe you can support it better by actually refilling your hand with all the updrafting stuff. I think we have to put Janna. We've been putting her in regions, but we have to probably use Janna in some Runeterra champions. There might be something there. Outside of when I tried it with Jin, and I think nobody else did Jin besides V, but I do think that there's something there with all that draw power. Now, here we go. I don't recall them like that. Oh, baby. The Children of the Forest. The Children of the Forest was ass. So they changed it to recall an ally or spend 8 mana to summon ephemeral copies of the 3 strongest followers you recall this game. So you have a 2 mana fast speed. Oh, this is a beautiful change. I love this change because this card wasn't used at all. So you still have what it used to do, but you have it in the choice body. The 9 lives is +1 power to just the Liminal Guardian, and Singular will reduce cost, so you can start. This is a funny deck, just burning their cards like crazy. I don't know if it works right now, like if you would use it. I don't know if there's a bunch of flooding like that. It was definitely really good remember when people were playing like so much Lysandra, you just put all the sigil, not sigils, but the throws back in their hand, and it was just a nightmare for them to rebuild after that. And then you also had a ton of draw, so you were just recalling and making them draw. They were burning cards left and right. It was pretty funny. So -1 to level up, so she's a little bit easier to level up. Are they trying to force Ari into the meta with all that with that recall change and things of that nature? I think one of the best Ari decks that I've ever made was with actually like Kai'Sa. It's actually pretty cool because you can recall stuff and you can spam under the Void Gate, and it allows you to get like elusive on or quick attack or anything like that, spamming all on top of a Void Gate, so you get all your cards to have like the similar stuff, and then all of a sudden, you know, Kai'Sa's leveled, she's elusive, she's quick attack, she's whatever the hell, like lifesteal. There's so much cool stuff that you can put on it, and you just recall it back to your hand, so you keep spamming it over and over again. And then if it dies, Voidgate still puts it into the deck as well. So I definitely want to see, and sometimes that's all it takes, making something easier to level. I think the same thing happened with Jarvan. Jarvan's still strong, just most people don't play him like that, but Garen, I think, got the, like, when they change how their level ups or what their play effects are, I feel like it does a lot. So might see me do that. Thanks for watching. That's the end. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, we went through it nice and quick and easy. As far as the changes, I liked most of them. Some of them was like, they just responding to the meta. I understand sometimes it's something strong, but that's kind of what you're supposed to do. I think that that's a fair thing to do. Like the change with like Wildfire, like you just like, let's just tone it down, see how it goes, and if it's too strong of a nerf or buff, we either bring it back or we delete it. You know, we just destroy the card. Like if they wanted to destroy Wildfire, they'd make it like 3 or 4 mana. They would just destroy the card. They could honestly do that. Like, hey, you can still put it in your deck if you want to, but if you want to cheese it out, you're gonna have to use a duplicator, or you're gonna have to do something that lowers the cost of it, so it's a little bit cheaper. Like kind of like how they changed Go Hard. Remember, Go Hard was 1 cost no matter what, and then they said, nah, this is too strong. Now the standard ones are 1 cost, but everything else is when you play that 1 sweep card, it's 5 cost. So they could do something like that with Wildfire. Like maybe it's 1, but then as it goes up in power, it goes up in cost as well. They could do that as well. You know, there's plenty of ways to change how that card works. But anywho, that's gonna be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed my little analysis. What cards are you super excited for? I definitely have to check out my Echo Janna deck. That's like super strong, and I might have to revisit Ari Kai'Sa. Like, was one of my favorite decks to play. Definitely. Now they have more tools. And what was it? Evelyn Nora, might have to bring that back out too, because of the change to Eclectic. It's a little bit easier if I get a bunch of units plus Husk out and I don't have the craziest board. I might just boom pop the Eclectic and pray that we just get some buffs in the hands plus some flash bombs here and there and win it out. Who knows? But that's gonna be it for me. Super fun. Looking forward to having some fun with all the new changes. And I'll see you guys there. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.